Nothing in the world tells us to be a nice person. Nothing in the world encourages us to be a nice person. Nothing in this world encourages us to be kind, or generous, or compassionate, or giving, or practice the 6 paramitas, or be alert or caring. Nothing in this world teaches us that. Only the Buddha teaches us that. So when we listen to the Buddha's teachings, what's most important, which I get disappointed over and over again for 20 years, is people not absorbing it. They say yes, they bow, they make offerings, they offer a kata, they say yes, you're my guru, but to actually practice and transform, I can say out of 100 students, maybe 1 or 2. Why am I telling you that? Because you have come from very far. And I am happy to meet all of you. I am happy with your effort. Your effort is not towards me. I don't see it as an effort towards me because I don't feel anything unusual about me. But your effort is towards the Dharma. So today I cut through the chase and I tell you the real Dharma. I tell you the real Dharma, the genuine Dharma, 100% Dharma, and nothing else. If any lamas can promise you enlightenment in one lifetime and all that stuff, please let me know. Without practice, it's impossible. Now, we have 3 pith problems within our mind stream. They're called ignorance, hatred, and desire. Those pith problems manifest into 84,000 varieties of mental problems. Those 84,000 varieties of mental problems is what makes us do all the things that we shouldn't do. And makes us do all the things that we regret, or sometimes we don't even understand. There is no God that makes us do this. There is no devil that makes us do this. There is no angels and spirits and ghosts and all that that makes us do these bad things. And there are ghosts, there are spirits, there are angels, there are dakhinis, there are supernatural beings. They don't make us do anything. It's the power of our karma that influences them to come near us to make us do things. Even if we're followed by a spirit, it's the power of our karma. It's not on their own. So therefore, these 84,000 afflictions in our mind is what makes us do all the things we're not supposed to do, that we regret 1 year after another, till we're old, till we claim it's too late to transform and change. And then all the karmas catch up, all the deceptions, all the lies, all the money making, all the killing, all the murder, all the meat, all the harm that we've done others catches up. And when it catches up, no Lama, no Buddha, no God, no religion, no ritual, no mantra can protect us. None. So while we have the chance now, we have to realize who's our enemy. Our enemy is not even us. It's the 84,000 afflictions that can be removed. The 84,000 afflictions that can be removed arise from 3 major afflictions. That major affliction arises from 1 major affliction, which is ignorance. And as long as we hold on to this ignorance very strongly, very firmly, we will have no leeway in our life. No way to escape. So therefore, what is most important? Most important is not the teacher. It's not the Buddha. It is not the Sangha. Those are important, but they're not the most important. What's most important is the Dharma. Just like medicine is more important than a doctor and the nurses in the hospitals and the x-rays and the diagnosis. The nurse, the doctor, the diagnosis, the hospital are important, but not as important as the medicine. So therefore, when we come to the teacher, the best way to please the teacher and to always have a smiling face from the teacher and always to be invited by the teacher or to have the karma to be near the teacher is to really practice what we have taught. Not practice, forgotten. Practice, forgotten, apologize. Given, forgotten, apologize. Apologize, apologize. After years, it's just apology after another. Every time we see our teacher, we're apologizing. That's not the right way. If every time we see our teacher we are apologizing, then we're not practicing the Dharma. We're not practicing the Dharma. And please don't go to a teacher to tell you things that you want to hear, or that makes your life easier, or to take away your burdens, or to take away your guilt, or take away your wrong methods. A teacher cannot lie. A teacher cannot misconstrue. A teacher cannot twist Buddha's teachings around to suit your ears. Why? Even the Buddha doesn't have the karma to change karma around. Even the Buddha doesn't have the karma to change karma around. Even the Buddha doesn't have the power or the karma to change karma around. No God, no Deva, no spirit, no human being, no supernatural being has the power or the karma to change karma around. So therefore, the Buddha saw that. His whole life was an example of how we should follow our lives. And if we can't follow exactly like the Buddha, a semblance, similar. And if we follow Buddha's life the way he has shown us in his life, and then we really take his teachings to heart, then you will see results in your mind. Then as the years progress, as time progresses, you will see the teachings become natural, light, genuine, real, as opposed to becoming more difficult and more difficult and more challenging and more challenging. Some people even leave the Dharma. I've seen monks leave the monasteries. I've seen people leave the Dharma. I've seen people leave me. I've seen people leave my gurus. I've seen people leave Garden Monastery. And some of them will even blame the guru, blame the Dharma center, blame the Dharma. And it's very, very, very ironic. It's like you don't follow the regime of the medicine and you blame the medicine for your illness. And that's very, very entertaining, very funny, in a not nice way. So therefore, when you come to a teacher, and the teacher has knowledge, and you can communicate with the teacher directly, and you have that great fortune to listen to the Dharma, whether it's one sentence, or one paragraph, or 1 hour, and you have that great fortune to listen to the pure and real and genuine Dharma from a teacher, you should think to yourself immediately, what have I done in my previous life to deserve this? What have I done before to deserve such a great opportunity for me to learn? The teacher gets nothing from teaching me. The teacher receives nothing from teaching me. But what have I done in my previous lives or life to create the causes for me to be in the presence of any teacher and receive the Dharma firsthand, with no agenda, no payment, no psychology, no nothing, free, unadulterated, and pure? What have I created to be able to listen to the teaching from a teacher? And then that's the first thing we should immediately do a short meditation on every day, and meditate and think. And the purpose of doing that meditation is to increase this type of thinking of rejoicing that we can receive the Dharma. To rejoice. When we rejoice in something, we create the causes to receive more. The second thing is, after we've met our teacher and we've accepted our teacher as a teacher, the second thing we should do is never, ever deceive our teacher. There are two types of deceptions. Outer deception, which is lying, breaking promises, breaking samayas, breaking our word, always having to be reminded, updated, always being pushed to be reminded and updated, always, always apologizing for something. And the apology is not an apology. The apology is actually a cover for the negative action. That's outer. Inner, we should never deceive our teacher. How should we never deceive our teacher? To keep quiet about things our teacher and other people cannot see, and we do it anyway. To not practice the Dharma and not transform our mind. Even year after year after year, not transform our mind. Not change our mind. Not become better. That is deception. That one you don't need to be around your teacher to see. That is deception of the highest degree. Why? When the teacher puts in that much effort to give you Dharma, for many years of practice, study, meditation, and contemplations, many years of sitting and receiving Dharma from his teacher or her teacher, and when the teacher puts this much effort into giving you Dharma, and you receive and you accept and you feel it's good, then your job is very simple. It's not complicated. Transform the mind. And when we don't transform our mind, it is deception. Why is it deception? Because you tell your teacher you will, but you don't. So when you deceive, you create the karma of deception. So in the future, you know what will happen. You will separate from your teacher. Or you create your teachers to have a short life. Or whatever jobs you try to do will not be fulfilled. Or any Dharma aspirations you have will be always interrupted. Why? Because you create the karma from deception. Deception creates separation. If we lie to our girlfriend, we lie to our boyfriend or husband or wife, they're going to separate from us, aren't they? I mean, the obvious end of deception is separation. So, in a karmic sense, when we deceive our teacher on a very high level, which is a subtle level, subtle is not seen, which is not transforming the mind. Why is it not seen? Because you can't see the mind. You can see result, speech, action, that is a result of the mind, but you can't see the mind. So when we deceive our teacher, we create the causes for our teacher not to be our teacher, or we will see wrong actions of our teacher. We will see wrong actions, or we will elicit wrathful actions from our teacher. And if we cannot accept wrathful actions, our teacher will remain silent. And then after that, separation. Or sometimes the teacher will dissolve his winds and pass away. What is dissolve the winds? Because in Tantric practice we have 72,000 channels, chi. They can be dissolved into the 3 channels, that dissolves 1 channel, and that one can leave. A highly accomplished teacher can dissolve his winds and leave his body within 24 hours. Yeah, 24 hours. Highly accomplished teacher. So therefore, 2. After we receive teachings from our teacher, we should follow all the way. We should not deceive. And the worst thing, the worst sign, the worst omen is not trees falling on your house, or accidents on the way to see your teacher, or your pendant falling, or fire. Those are not the worst omens. The worst omen from your teacher is when your teacher has to repeat his instructions to you. That is the worst omen a true student can have. Why? That means you are putting your teacher in a position to remind you. And when you're making your teacher remind you, it means you have not taken his teachings to heart, you have not transformed, and you are treating him like a girlfriend, a boyfriend, or just no one. A parent. The worst omen is not a bad dream. Last night I had an incredible dream. Last night I dreamt I was in a monastery and an oracle was there. A fully attained, trained oracle was there taking trance of my Dharma protector. And when he took trance, he showed us that 2 more oracles will arrive. Not to me, 2 more oracles will manifest. He showed us a video, and then I woke up. It was very, very strange, but it was a good strange. My point? Omens are not dreams. They can be dreams. They can be pendants falling. They can be a sign. They can be, a premonition. Those can be omens. But the highest and the worst omen is when your teacher has to repeat his instructions to you. Why? That means you blatantly don't listen to him. That's the worst omen. What's an omen? An omen is an indicator, a sign to us of where we are with our teacher. That is an omen. Yes, there are superstitious things. There are superstitions and there are supernatural things. There are magic. There is spirits. There is curses. There is all of that. But those can only affect us if we have the karma for them to affect us. If we don't have the karma, we can't be affected. For example, first one is accept the teacher and follow the teachings and transform the mind. That's our highest duty. If we can serve the teacher in any way, if we can make offerings, sponsor, do labor, work, build, practice, follow instructions, if we can do any of that for the teacher, that's number two, that's subsidiary. That supports number one. Why? Because all that is designed to collect merit in order that we can transform our life. But the highest service to the teacher is transforming our minds. And then if we think even deeper, how does transforming my mind serve the teacher? It doesn't. It doesn't serve the teacher at all. It serves myself. So in fact, the highest way to serve our teacher is not even serving the teacher. The teacher gets nothing from it. It is actually serving ourselves. And that's the whole purpose of why we have a teacher. The whole purpose of why we have a teacher is to teach us, to show us. So the purpose of having a teacher is to teach us and show us. Then we must, number two, not deceive our teacher. Never deceive our teacher on two levels. Outer deception and inner deception. Never cheat our teachers. Deceive our teachers. Because when we teach our teachers, it leads back to number one. We deceive ourselves. Because if we deceive our teachers, we don't transform. If we don't transform, we get the misbenefit. Number three, the worst omen that we can ever have is when a teacher repeats an instruction to us. That would mean we're not paying attention. We haven't developed we're not developing the five sensory perceptions to be sharp. We're not focused. We're not remembering. We don't find it important, and we don't respect the teacher. So that's why the teacher has to repeat to us instructions. If the teacher has to repeat to us any instructions, we have deceived our teacher. If we have deceived our teacher, that's one notch on deception and one less notch on transformation. If we practice really well, we don't even need to be near our teacher. I lost my teacher 25 years ago. I cannot tell you I'm the best practitioner, but I'm still a monk. I'm still teaching, doing Dharma work, and doing my practice. I'm still doing it, irregardless of what people might say or not say. It doesn't matter. So for me, number three is very important. One is to transform. Two is not to deceive. Three is never to elicit a negative omen from your teacher. A negative omen is when your teacher has to repeat to you anything. And every time you say, I'm sorry to your teacher, it is indirectly saying, I don't respect you. The word I'm sorry is very powerful because it can repair relationships between a husband and wife. It can repair differences between countries so they don't blow each other up. I'm sorry can repair rifts between clans, tribes, countries, cities, husbands and wives, mothers and sons. The word I'm sorry, the two words I am sorry, can prevent wars. So it's very, very powerful. And it's really a genuine, powerful mantra. But if we keep saying I'm sorry for every small thing, I'm sorry, but the result is still I'm sorry, then it's deception. And if we deceive our teacher, we create the karma not to be around our teacher, and most likely we start to see our teacher in a bad light. Does it mean there are no bad teachers? There are bad teachers. There are people that shouldn't be teachers. There are people that should not be Dharma teachers. There are. And there are people who should be Dharma teachers, but because of our negative karma, we see them as bad teachers. And that's very harmful. There are people who see Buddha as bad. They blow up his statues. There are people who criticize Buddha, say negative things about Buddha, about Kuan Yin. There are people who say that. So there are people who see negative things about the perfect Buddha. Of course, there are people who see negative things about good teachers. I don't claim to be a good teacher, but I'm telling you in general, there are good teachers who are good teachers, and when they see negative views, it's wrong. I've seen people criticize good teachers. I've seen people criticize my teachers. I've seen people say very unpleasant things about my personal teachers. To me, I've seen. But it doesn't faze me or change me. And I'm lucky that I have the good karma to regain from it. I thank them for saying that to me because it shows me that my mind is very firm. Because if people were to say a lot of bad things about my teacher, two things happen. I believe them and go away, or I don't believe them and remain patient. I chose number two. There are some places people like me can go to without saying anything. They'll criticize me. But it doesn't matter. It's your relationship between you and your teacher. That's the most important. Now, first one is transforming the mind. Second one is never deceiving your teacher. Transforming is your own mind. Never deceiving your teacher is never deceiving yourself. If you love yourself the right way, you will never deceive yourself. Third is never to receive negative omens from your teacher. The negative omens is when your teacher has to repeat and repeat and repeat and repeat and repeat. And when your teacher has to repeat, you create the karma of shortening your teacher's life. Or you not being in the presence of your teacher, or seeing wrong views about your teacher. You can Google that to check if I am accurate or not. There's a lot of information out there. I kid you not, and I make up nothing. This comes from 50 verses of Guru Devotion by Guru Panchasika. It's called Guru Panchasika, written by the great saint Ashwagosha. So I kid you not. Now, if we transform our minds, we never deceive our teacher, or the deception becomes less and less over time, we are on the right track. And if our teacher reminds us of things sometimes, once a year, twice a year, we're doing fine. To be a perfect disciple of spirituality and transformation is impossible. To be perfect overnight is impossible. To say I can't be perfect is also wrong. Because if you say you can't be perfect, then you say there's no existence of a Buddha. If you say there's no existence of a Buddha, then it means you cannot become a Buddha. There is no Buddhahood for you. Alright? Now, today I cannot teach you the 84,000 corpus of Buddha's teachings. It's impossible. I don't know it all, and we don't have the time to teach what I do know. But what I want to say is that we should read the Dharma by good teachers, teachers of good repute. We should study the Dharma. Study means to read, absorb, and think. Study, read, absorb, and think. As our Dharma knowledge increases, it's like fertilizer for the flower. It will grow very big and strong like a tree. Along with that is very important, is to make sure that our studies are not dry and not just reading, because that would lead to arrogance. That would lead to a very big head. I know a lot. Respect me. That's very dangerous. To know a lot, expect respect, and not transform. So what do we need to do every single day is we need to do a practice. What practice would I recommend to everyone? What practice? Is of course Lama Tsongkhapa's Guru Yoga. Why Lama Tsongkhapa's Guru Yoga? As Panchen Lama said to the Mongolian, all of 84,000 teachings of Buddha is encompassed in Lama Tsongkhapa's practice and teachings. The great Panchen Lama himself had said that. So someone as attained and all-knowing and omniscient as Panchen Lama can pick such a practice, I think would be quite good for us. So every day what we should do is this. We should make sure we're clean. Our face is clean. Our mouth is clean. Our breath. And then we go and clean our altars. We should have a Buddha representation, a Dharma, and a Sangha on I'm sorry, body, speech, and mind. Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, same thing on our altar. We can have multiple representation, that's fine, but we should have a Buddha, Dharma, Sangha representation on our altars, and it's clean and put well and done beautifully. And to understand the meaning of the Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, or the body, speech, and mind of the Buddha. So we should have the body, speech, and mind, which is equivalent to Buddha, Dharma, Sangha. The Buddha represents to purify all the negative karma we've done with our body. Killing or indirect killing. One of the worst things we can do with our body is killing. The killing of humans, animals, spirits, killing. Or creating the causes for them to be killed. Whatever pain you have given the other person in killing them, you will receive that pain back. It's just a matter of time. Otherwise, how can karma be selective? Oh, you do that, it doesn't come back. You do this, it comes back. I'm not saying this to threaten you, I'm telling you the truth. Whatever pain you give to another being, human, animal, spirit, whatever pain, which is inflict pain on their body, cut them, kill them, draw blood from them, eat their flesh, anything you do to harm them in any way, every single pain that every single human or animal or spirit you have inflicted pain. When I say spirit, because there are people who could harm spirits or imprison them and make them do bad things. There are people. Every single pain you give to that being, it will come back to you. And it's just a matter of time. So every time, and if you're profiting by it, you're living off of that, and you're living off of that type of harm. For example, if you're a murderer or a killer, or you're a soldier or whatever, and you're receiving a salary for being a soldier, that is very dangerous. Because why? Then there's something that seals the karma. You rejoice. I got my salary. I can buy a car now. I can buy a house for my wife. Oh, I can buy a house for my kids. Oh, I can have clothes now. Oh, I can buy luxury things. I can go on trips. So with that money that comes from killing, you can enjoy yourself and do all kinds of things in joy. And that's even worse. Why? When we seal the karma, it's even more powerful and painful. There's a difference when we do something and regret, and we do something and we're happy. When we do something and we regret, the karma is lessened. When we do something we're happy or we rejoice in it, the karma is sealed. Meaning it will definitely come back. Just a matter of time. Otherwise, the Buddha is wrong. Otherwise, where does all the pain and the ills and the problem? Look at the people in different countries with leprosy, starving, living in dirty conditions, very poor. No matter how hard they work, they suffer. Cancer, diseases, all these problems when we look at these countries. Where do you think the karma comes from? I'm not saying this to say they deserve it or they should have that. I'm just saying it comes from a source. So why do some people receive that? We can be very strong and vital and handsome right now, but easily within a breath we could die and take rebirth as a leprosy, a child of a leper. I'm from India. I lived in India and served my teacher in South India. I've traveled to North India, to Ladakh. I've traveled to many states in India. I've traveled to the worst state, which is Bihar state, one of the poorest states. And the amount of poverty and pain and suffering and incredible hopelessness and destitute feeling that people have to experience is beyond your comprehension. And even if I was a fully fledged bodhisattva, I could do nothing for them because their karma has opened. What makes us think we won't become one of them? What is the difference between that person and us? The only difference is the opening of which karma at the time of death. That's the only difference. So therefore, it's better to be poor and to have right livelihood than to be rich and have negative livelihood. Because to have negative livelihood and to be wealthy is a result of negative karma. Example, I've heard of people in LA who kill people for a living. And they can make a lot of money. 200,000 per person, depends on the person they kill. And they make quite a lot. Because a normal person makes 35 to 40,000 a year working, 6 days a week, 8 hours a day, 8 to 10 hours, and they make 35 to 40,000 a year. These people make 100,000 in a day. And they're very happy. They have rings, they have gold, they have women, they have cars, they go on trips, and they're very happy. And they love their job. And that is a result of negative karma. Even the job is a result of negative karma. So therefore, what's very important is that now we have a chance to know the truth. And this is the truth. To harm begets harm. To harm begets harm. To harm mentally another person, another being. Lying to them, deceiving them, hurting them, beating them, cheating them. That's very bad. Don't even need to mention killing. Stealing. Very bad. So therefore, now when we listen and practice the Dharma, we need to understand the truth. And you know what? Sometimes the truth makes us uncomfortable and scared and itchy and all that. That is good. Why is that good? It means we have a conscience of it. If we don't have a conscience, whatever the Dharma teacher is talking about, we just yawn and wait for a drink. If we do feel uncomfortable, there's a conscience that. If we feel nothing and we don't feel anything, or we think that this is for somebody else, then we've already degenerated to a point of almost no return. If we think the teaching is for someone else, then we've degenerated. So we should have a beautiful image of a Buddha, any Buddha, whatever Buddha. Buddha must be a Buddha. No gods, no spirits, no demons, no land gods, none of that on our altar. We have to because of tradition or culture, separately. We don't pray to things that are in samsara. So we have a beautiful Buddha, we have a beautiful Dharma book, and a Sangha, or the mind, a stupa. If we find that too busy, we can put all of it inside the Buddha image, so it's Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, or body, speech, and mind in one. My people can come. And we have a beautiful image of Buddha. Every day we should make minimum 2 sets of offerings. Pure water offerings. Pure. With the best bowls that we can obtain, that our finances can afford. The best would be gold. The next would be silver. Then below that would be copper. Then below that would be brass. And then below that would be steel. Then below that would be haiyan, which is aluminum. Below that would be some plastic. Potteries in between, depends on what type of pottery. We should do the best we can. Our cars can be big. Our houses can be big. Our altar should be just as big. We can't have big altars, big cars, big women, big husbands, big shopping, big branded stuff, big trips, but our altar is teeny. And then we use the excuse, oh, I like it simple. Why is it only your altar is simple? Doesn't make sense. And then, well, I can't keep 30 statues on my altar at Rinpoche. Fine. Create beautiful images and make sure other people can keep it. Provide for others. So we should have a beautiful altar, make pure offerings every single day. When we pour the water, start from left to right. And make sure that the water bowls are 1 grain of rice apart from each other. Grain of rice sideways. Why do we do that? It's a concentration and a meditation when we do offerings. And then we should make sure the water is straight. And then we should make sure that the water is 1 grain of rice from the ribbon. Is it a little over, a little less? Is it bad? No. We just do our best we can. And 2 rows. After that, we take incense and we purify it by reciting the body, speech, and mind mantra of the Buddha's Bodhisattvas today. It's Om, 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 Om. Purify it. Then, after we clean our altar, we've made the offerings. Any additionals up to us. We can offer fruits, vegetarian foods, biscuits, cookies, flowers, anything. And then we make 3 prostrations. We make, if we are able to, 3 full leg prostrations. And then we rise, and as we're making prostrations, we should remember this. By touching my body, my speech, and my mind to the floor, to the lowest part of the ground, to the Buddha, may I become very humble. May I become open to wisdom. And the wisdom that I do have, may I be humble about it. For being arrogant about my wisdom denotes I have ego. Ego is opposite of knowing the Dharma. If I know the Dharma, I shouldn't have ego. If I have ego, I don't know the Dharma. If I know the Dharma, I shouldn't have ego. If I have ego, I don't know the Dharma or not practicing. If I don't have ego, I'm practicing the Dharma or I know the Dharma. So I practice humility. So in the face of elders, my parents, seniors, Sangha, I'll be very humble. For those who sponsor me, take care of me, or help me, or they support my practice, I'll be very humble. In fact, I'll be humble to everyone. And when we're humble, anger becomes less. When anger becomes less, actions from anger becomes less, and then we create less enemies. There's a lot of good repercussions. Then we should sit down, and whatever sutras we're doing, whatever prayers we're doing, whatever tantra we're doing, that's wonderful, please do it. And if you want to stop doing 20 deities, you want to do one, that's also wonderful. Whichever Buddha you prostrate to or worship, or whichever Buddha you invoke upon or do puja with, or to ask for blessings every day, the blessings will be equivalent to any Buddha. No Buddha is superior than another Buddha. It's just our affinity. So, we recite the first line of Lama Tsongkhapa. And this is what we visualize. We visualize God in heaven. Whatever you think God in, whatever you think heaven looks like, you just visualize. It's up to you. In the beginning, it's imagination that it becomes real. And in the center of God in heaven is the next Buddha to come, the Chakravartin Maitreya Buddha. From Maitreya Buddha's heart, a cloud light emanates, form emanates, and on that sits the all-knowing King of Dharma, Lama Tsongkhapa, and his two spiritual sons. In other words, Manjushri, Avalokiteshvara, and Vajrapani. In other words, wisdom, compassion, skillful means. In other words, the realization of emptiness, bodhicitta, and protection from all manas. They represent these. And then we visualize them in front of us, beautiful, as powerful as possible. We visualize. Why do we visualize? Because right now we are developing the tower of our home. That's what we do. Then the next line. We should think if possible that this three are actually my guru, is my teacher. My teacher and Lama Tsongkhapa are one. That we request Lama Tsongkhapa to sit in front of us and stay with us, remain with us. Why do we request Lama Tsongkhapa to remain with us? We request Lama Tsongkhapa to remain with us because we create the causes to always be near a Dharma teacher, to be close to a Dharma teacher. Close doesn't mean physically. It means that mentally we are close, that whatever the Dharma teaches us, we will practice. This is the real closeness that we want. You're requesting your Guru, Lama Tsongkhapa, Buddha Tsongkhapa, to remain for 100 aeons. So you're creating the causes to meet your Guru and the Buddha and the teachings in your next life, in your next life, in your next life. So every lifetime, spontaneously, you're born within the Dharma, you're not lost. So when you request that, you're creating cause. If you ask someone, can you marry me? They marry you. There's a request, so there's a result. So when you request the Buddha, please remain with me, it's a request, there will be a result. The result will be, you will always be in the presence of a teacher, the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. Alright, then after that, you praise them. You praise their mind, their intellects, understands and perceives all that is to be known. Why do you praise them? To create the causes for yourself to gain omniscience. Then, You praise their speech. Why do you praise their speech? In order to get the qualities of a Buddha's speech, and also to purify our own speech. Next, you praise their bodies. Their bodies are radiantly handsome with glory, renown. I prostrate to you whom to behold, hear, and recall is worthwhile. So when you praise their body, what do you create? You create the purification of your own body and the negative deeds that your body may have done in this life and previous lives. And you create the causes to obtain the Buddha body. The purpose of practicing Buddhism is to become a Buddha. Not to ask the Buddha for all types of materialistic wishes. The real purpose of Buddhism is to become a Buddha. Nothing else. Everything else is subsidiary. So if we're praying for anything else to the Buddha, that's not why the Buddha appeared in our lives. We have to realize that. Maybe our parents never taught us that, but maybe they never knew. Then, pleasing water offerings, various flowers, fragrant incense, light, and scented water, an ocean and actual visualized cloud-like offerings, I present to you a supreme merit field. So you offer waters, the flowers, incense, cleanliness to Lama Tsongkhapa, to Buddha Tsongkhapa, to the Buddha. By offering these beautiful things, several things happen. One, you start to create a detachment from these things. Does that mean you become a cold, uncaring nobody that hangs out on the street, just a beggar, a homeless person? No. A detachment from things is to have things and it doesn't create suffering, or not have it, it doesn't create suffering. Objects don't become causes for you to suffer anymore. So you start to create a positive detachment to things. That's one. Two, you create a positive purification to miserliness, selfishness, greed. Then we can let go of things easier. When we're less greedy, less miserly, what's the result? We have a little less money, but we have more happiness. Have you heard the saying, the best wealth that we can have is the wealth we give it away? Yeah, let's think about that. The best wealth we can have is the wealth we have given away. Not the wealth we kept. That doesn't bring any happiness. Isn't that wise? Let's think about that again. The best wealth we can ever have is the wealth we gave away. Because the wealth we gave away is what's going to bring us happiness. Not the wealth we kept. So by offering these things, they're not gold bars. They're not businesses. They're water offerings in beautiful offering items. Every day you practice giving. And it leads to something deeper. It leads to emotional giving. Some of us can give money away easily, but we can never be wrong. I know people like that. They can give money away very easily. They can buy anything for you. They love you, they tell you they love you, and they do. And they do love you. They can give everything away. But emotionally, they can't give anything away. They never can be wrong. They can never confess they're wrong. They rather hide their wrong and lose everything than to confess their wrong. And that is the highest sort of miserliness you can experience. Why? Because that type of miserliness makes a person not respected, not loved, dejected, and it makes them know they're not doing the right thing. So it leads to that. It leads to what? Emotional giving in a good way. Highly realized practitioners can give up their wife or not have one for you. Meaning they can spend their whole lives as Dharma practitioners, monks or nuns, and not be attached to partners for you. That's a giving. People who have to have a wife, have to have a husband, have to have a partner, and that overrides Dharma. They're actually not giving on the highest level. So they're very far away from Buddhahood, because there's no Buddha that needs a consort. There is no Buddha that needs a partner. There is no Buddha that needs a wife or a husband. If they needed one, they would be a Buddha. So therefore, the highest practitioners, they can come back life after life, happy and single. Really happy and single, not frustrated. We know a lot of people say, oh, I'm happy to be single, but they're not. It's just you can't get anybody. So they pretend they're happy and single, but they're not. But they won't be happy being not single either, because their happiness doesn't come from being single or not single. So what happens is the highest form of giving is emotional giving. To be able to sacrifice, and let's not use the word sacrifice, to be able to easily let go of one's attachments to benefit another person. Imagine you tell someone, oh, can you be a nun? They say, no. Why? Oh, I can't. I need a wife. Oh, can you be a I just can't, because I need a wife. I need a partner. I need a romance. You go, oh, okay. But I want to practice giving. I'm like, okay. It doesn't, Rama, which I mean, doesn't match. Those people, they in fact hamper their spiritual growth. Is it possible to have a spiritual relationship with a partner and then you help each other grow? It's definitely possible. There are people who can be with a partner and they can grow together and help each other grow. It is definitely possible. But that one we have to check out ourselves. When we are with our partner, do we do more? Do we become better? Is our mind more focused? Are we accomplishing more or less? That's when we can check ourselves. So, to be a Buddhist practitioner, do you need to be always single? Not necessary. For some, yes, it is necessary. Just like for some, they need to take the vow of not drinking alcohol. Because by drinking alcohol, they create violence and unhappiness in people's lives. So for some people, they need to take the vow of taking alcohol. Some people, they don't need to take the vow. Why? They take alcohol just to relax and just make another person happy. It's a social thing. It doesn't create anything. So it's okay. It's not the alcohol that's bad karma, it's what you do with it. So it's not your partner or your wife or your boyfriend or your alcohol or your fun or your branded stuff that make you a bad person or that's bad. It's what you do with it afterwards. So if you get branded things, you become arrogant, and you go around, you want to show off to people and put people down and you want to show you're somebody, then that branded item creates negative karma for you because you put your mind that way. So it's not the branded item, it's your mind. So what should you do? Don't have branded items for the moment. Why? Because if you're suffering because you don't have it, it means you definitely do not need it. That's how we check ourselves. So when I tell you Dharma, it's not a hard and fast rule for everyone. You check. You check what matches yourself. But be honest with Buddha. If you can't be honest with Buddha, then you'll never be a Buddha. You'll never progress in your spiritual practice. Then, next one is confession. Next one is very important. Why is confession important? We don't have to go see a priest and monk to confess. Confession is understanding the law of karma, cause and effect, and how karma will come back to us, and how we will experience all the things that we are afraid to experience. And therefore, this fright, this fear, propels us to do something. Example, druggies can see people in the hospital dying from overdose of drugs, and that would turn them around. Some. For some people, they go to jail, they see how people are beaten, abused, raped, how they are put down, slapped by the guards and the inmates, and they say, no, I'm never going to get into jail. I will never do things that go to jail. That can help them. So similarly, when we reflect on the negative points, negative situations that may come back to us, good fear arises. Good fear doesn't make us paranoid, it makes us transform. Some people say Buddhism is quite morbid. I don't find it morbid, I find it truthful. So therefore, to regret is the first step. Then to think the negative things we have done, to regret, and next is not to do it anymore. When we do that, we reverse our ill fortune. We reverse our negative karma. We reverse our direction and destiny. So we are now confessing to Lord Buddha Tsongkhapa, I will not commit these actions. And I regret what I've committed. And sincerely. And by doing this every day, you know what happens? You become a nicer person. That's a very good result. To become a nicer person. It's not the whole purpose of religion to be nicer. If we don't regret the bad things we've done, and which one of us, including me, have not done bad things? Of course we have. Who in this room doesn't have regrets? Of course we all do. But you see, we can do something about it. So every day when we recite this line, we think about it for a moment with Buddha Tsongkhapa, it has effect. Why? The object is a Buddha. Our mind understands the effects, and we recite the verses. These three has power. Just to recite to a chair, to a glass, has no effect. I confess to you my bad karma. I confess to you all the bad things I've done. Nothing happens. The glass has no effect. But when you're confessing to an enlightened being, a Buddha, very powerful. Very powerful. And does have effect. Alright? Then on a psychological level, we remember what we need to transform. The next one, very simple. To look around you at all the people you like and don't like, and all the good things they've done, and feel happy. Even the people you don't like, all the good things they've done, feel happy. Don't gossip. Don't put them down. Don't try to create schism to make them look bad although they did something good. To rejoice. And in front of Lama Tsongkhapa, Buddha Tsongkhapa, you rejoice. Why do you rejoice? To counter a very difficult emotion, jealousy. So if you see your best friend get the best wife in the world, instead of saying, that belongs to me, and then you do everything you can to separate them, you say, I'm happy for you. May they have long life, happiness, and spiritual bliss. And let it go. When you see someone with a better car, may they not pollute the environment. May they not have an accident, hurt anyone, or kill anyone. May they have safety. Wish good wishes. Don't think, oh, that's not fair. He doesn't deserve that car. She doesn't deserve it. I should get it. So what we do, we counter that jealousy. Because if we don't counter jealousy, jealousy turns to anger. Anger turns into action. Action turns into result. That's scary. So in front of Lama Tsongkhapa, rejoice. Then, dedication. All the good things that you have done from your previous sadhana to now. That means when you did this last, which should be about 24 hours ago, to now, all the good things you've done, dedicate it. Rejoice and be happy. Why? It seals the deal. When anger arises, the positive karma will not be burned away. Then you recite the mantra. You recite the mantra, which I find too long. I told my teacher I find the mantra too long. And I don't like long mantras because I'm a lazy person. I like it short, sweet, and effective. Maybe I'm a product of the times. Everything must be fast. Unfortunately, I'm in the wrong country for that. No, not in Malaysia. You'll never get anything fast. Nothing will be fast here. Anyway, I'm a product of the times. The product of the times, okay, with Tibetans, with Malaysians, Nepalese, and Indians, you'll never get anything fast. Fast is a word that's not in the vocabulary. No way. I don't know about other countries, but I know these four confirmed. So, I'm a product of the times means I'm from the US. And there everything is yesterday. And I like that. I miss that. I will go back to that. I will find that again. I like that. So, we recite the mantra, which, as I said, I find long. There's a 4-line, 5-line, 9-line. Having said that it's long, it's complete. It's a perfect mantra. Because the first line salutes Kuan Yin Pesan, and to gain great wisdom. The second line salutes unending wisdom, meaning a wisdom that does not end, permanent, which is Manjushri. The third line is very powerful because it salutes skillful beings, or the ability to chase away one's inner and outer negative thoughts, maras. They're called maras. which is of course Lord Vajrayana. Then the next line is to request. Then the next line is to praise that within the land of snows, which represents samsara. Lama Tsongkhapa, you are supreme. You have taught the Dharma, 84,000. You have lived with us. You have shown us that Buddhahood is possible in one lifetime. To you, Lama Tsongkhapa, I prostrate my head to your feet, your lotus feet, that I may become just like you. And when we recite that every day, 3 times, 7 times, 21 times, 108 times, that's wonderful. But I'm going to make it simple and easy and sweet and very delicious for all of you. You just recite Mingsama every day 7 times. And then after that recite Om Arabhasanadi, which is Lama Tsongkhapa's other mantra. You say, but isn't that Manjushri's mantra? It is, because Lama Tsongkhapa and Manjushri are one. And recite Manjushri's mantra, which we desperately need. Desperately. We may think we're smart. We may think we're bright and quick. But for negative actions, we're very quick. For positive actions, we're very, very slow. So we need Manjushri desperately. More than any other Buddha, we need Manjushri. More than a wealth Buddha. More than any Buddha, we need Manjushri. So after we recite Mingsama 7 times, we recite Om Arabhasanadi 3 rounds. At the end of the round, recite the last syllable D 108 times in one breath. So, how should you recite it? There's people around quietly, there's nobody around, just like that. Enough for yourself to hear. Can you drink? You can. Can you drink some water or whatever, some liquids, what, tea? Sure you can. Can you cough? Can you burp? You can. Can you get up and go to the toilet? You can. Get up, go to the toilet, come back and continue. You have to start all over, you go back to it. Why? It's not a bargaining game. Oh, I finished this, I have to start. No. Lama Tsongkhapa is not going to say, oh, you missed your mantra count. He's not petty. Lama Tsongkhapa, Buddha Tsongkhapa is not petty at all. So, after you do Mingsama 7 times, pronounce that mantra well, because that mantra is very powerful for eliciting wisdom from within. Powerful wisdom. Strong wisdom. Quick wisdom. Fast wisdom. And the wisdom we need the most is to make right decisions. The wisdom we need is right decisions. A lot of us pick a girlfriend. Pick over our gurus. Pick a girlfriend over our Dharma work. Pick a boyfriend over virtuous work. When we pick a girlfriend or a boyfriend over Dharma work, we both goes for 3 low rungs. Oh my God, how condemning. It's not condemning. It's not them that brings you there. It's your attachment to them. It's your attachment. So, it helps you to make right decisions. One mantra, 1 mile, 1 beat. Bring the beat towards you. If you can, use your left hand to train for higher tantra. If you cannot, right hand, or you can switch back and forth. It's nice to hold at your heart level, get tired, and hold here also. Why heart level? Bring the blessings to your mind. Stick your feet out straight. Yeah. Then, at the end of 108, take 1 deep breath. Swallow. Even the saliva has power. There's a shortcut way. It's not a shortcut way, it's a special way. Sarnji taught us, which is quite good also. 25, you do 4 Ds per mata. Omara Vazana, you're finished. Either way, it's 4 Ds per mala. So DD, DD. So DD upper toe, DD lower toe. Per mala times 4, 2,500. I said 108, but it's actually 100. So you can do either way, but some people get mixed up at DD, DD, DD. Don't confuse yourselves. Just do the one I showed you originally, maybe simpler. No, many people don't focus on the practice, they focus on the details that are not necessary. They get very confused. They ask confusing questions, and I get confused. And I get tired. So, after you recite that, take your mala and bless it. Of course you have the power to bless. Especially if you always tell the truth. Your mouth will have very power to bless. If you're lying and you do mantras, it won't have much power. Because mantras and lying is opposite. Oh, I will do it with cheating, you don't do it. That's a lie. So you do it in many mantras, oh, mani, 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 mani. Maybe one person does oh, mani, mani, one round, you have to do 10,000. Lying counters mantras. So, oh, mani, 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 then you keep your mala going. Once you keep your mala well, maybe in the future you can bless animals with it or other people. It will help. Can. You think, but I'm not a seafood. You don't have to be a seafood. If the mantra has power. I'm not a Dharma master. The mantra has power. It's not you. I don't have power. That's why we go after high lamas, malas. When we go to high lamas, we try to get them to put their mala on our head. Why? Because millions of mantras have gone into. So it's a relic. It's like a Buddha's tooth. Maybe not as powerful, but it's powerful. So we can have our own relic. That's why we all should have a very nice mala. And if it breaks, oh my God, is that a bad omen? It broke because the string broke, that's it. It's very simple. People ask that, oh my God, my mala broke. What does that mean? It means it's time to get a new mala. Go to Kichara Paradise. Get a nice new mala. Oh, I lost 2 or 3 beads. How? Is that bad luck? No, just buy a new mala. Support your local Dharma center. Is it a bad omen? My mala broke? No. My mala was broke hundreds of times, so what's the big deal? It just broke. It's called string. And if you use pearl malas or stone malas, it breaks faster because it cuts into the string. So you don't need to freak out if your mala breaks. Just say, my mala broke. I remember when I was on a train traveling with Laki Runchi, my mala broke. So last when you woke up and saw me on my hands and knees all over the train, he said, what are you doing? I said, my mala broke. I'm looking for my mala. He said, okay, go back to sleep. So I was on a train like this looking for my mala. I went back and I lost about 6, 7 beads, and I was a little upset. So I got other beads and replaced it. Because that's how I'm very poor, I can't afford it. So my biggest nightmare is when my mala breaks when I'm traveling. Now I have hundreds of malas. I always get a new mala. So anyways, get the best mala you can. Whatever you like, whatever material. However you like. If you're lay people, a layperson, you can get an ornate mala with silver and jewels and stuff. Why? Because later when you do mandala offerings every day, you can offer your mala up every day. It's part of the mandala. Can you wear it? Yes, you can. Why not? Can you wear it here? Sure you can. Can you take it to the toilet? Of course you can. You gotta take yourself to the toilet, so take your mala. We can't hang our mala outside, can we? I mean, there are strict practitioners who don't take their mala into the toilet. I have no choice. We wear our Buddha pendants, don't we? Yeah, we have our Buddha pendants. So we wear that to the toilet, isn't it? I mean, we'll take everything off, hang there. Get on. You don't mean any disrespect. If you're really nervous that you brought your mala to a dirty place, just blow mantra, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Vasanati, Om Ah Hum. It's pure. Can other people touch your mala? Sure. You let them touch you, so why not your mala? I mean, you've been touched so many times, why not your mala? What's so sacred about your mala? But honestly speaking, if there's someone very negative, better they don't touch your mala. Because sometimes the negative energy can come to you and affect you. Sometimes. Okay, after you finish your mantra, can you do more? Excellent. If you can do more, it's excellent. You should do more. You should reserve 1 day a week that you do 1,000 Omanavasanadis that day, which is beautiful. And after you finish your mantras, you do the 3 dissolutions. Three paragraphs. The first dissolution, pendants are so you visualize Lama Tsongkhapa, and the 2 suns dissolve into light. This light is wisdom, compassion, skillful means. It is Vajpani, Manjushri, Avalokiteshvara. Then you recite the next word by visualizing a straw-like object in from here to your heart. Below that, don't need to think. Blue in color. Inside red. So like a straw, outside is blue, inside is red. And at the bottom, it fans out a little bit, it has a little platform. And there's a lotus. That is your mind. That is your mind. The lotus is empty right now. Then you recite the second line. And you visualize long-term Kappa in the form of light dissolve into you and enter. Don't think, oh, I'm dirty, I don't deserve it. How can he be so good to me? Forget all that. Drop all insecurities for the moment, because Lama Tsongkhapa doesn't judge. Lama Tsongkhapa doesn't judge anyone. So Buddha Tsongkhapa dissolves into you, the light stays here, and then enters a lotus, and lotus closes up. Then that one piece of light, still coming out, extending to Maitreya. Remember the cloud that he's sitting on? It goes to Maitreya Buddha. Think you're connected to Maitreya Buddha all the time. Then the last line, and it's all of you done. Until I achieve bodhicitta and Buddhahood, stay with me, Lama Tsongkhapa. Then visualize the lights, and Lama Tsongkhapa and you become one, very firm, very strong. And lights permeate your whole body. Lights from Tsongkhapa go down to your body, to your toes, and then some of it flicker out to your hands, some of it flicker out to your head, to your neck, everywhere it flickers out. It flickers out all lies and deceptions. And it seals your body. Seals 7 places. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 4, okay? 5, 6, 7. The lower 2 regions is 2. These are places where negative spirits can enter us and take possession. You know, does that really happen? It does. There are people who can see spirits and take possession. Maybe you never experienced it, doesn't mean it doesn't happen. You've never seen Jupiter with your eyes, doesn't mean it doesn't exist. So it seals the 7 centers that can enter you. Nothing, that you feel the light surround you and protect you. Protect you with patience and love and great wisdom, and you will achieve that. Then, any other practices you have, do it. If you don't have, come do a dedication. A quick dedication. It's such a day. That is to regenerate you. That is to regenerate you. The real practice is when you leave your meditation cushion, how you act. So the real action is when you leave your meditation cushion, how you act from that point on to the next day you enter your cushion again. You sit on your cushion. Are you lying? Are you attached? You make wrong decisions? You deceive? You always disappoint? Practice. So the Lama Tsongkhapa practice I explained to all of you is what you can do every single day. Every day. Short and simple. It shouldn't take you more than 15 minutes, at the most 20. You can do that every day. You can teach that to people. I have it on my blog. You can extract it. I taught you in short form. Since you've come from very far, you should go away with something precious. Since you made such an effort to come here to meet me, as I told you in the beginning, meeting me means nothing. It has no blessings, no significance. But listening to the Dharma is the result of your good karma. Listening to the Dharma and leaving me today and going back and practicing from henceforth is the great blessing. It's what will transform. Then along with that, meditate. Along with that, read. And read things that disturb your mind. Do you know why? It means you have a conscience and something's hitting you. That's good. Can we do other mantras? Of course we can. How about the specific mantras that our teacher gave us? We can do that. If we have nothing else to do, we can do this. We can do this. And this will be complete, easy, and guess what? There's no way you can go wrong with this. There are meditations that you need highly skilled supervision. That means The teacher teaches you, you go back to your room and do it, come back and report the next day. Then he tells you blah, 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 blah. You go back to your room and come back and report to the teacher the next day. You must do that for a period of time until certain signs arise that the person has accomplished the meditation. If that's not done, the person can go a little cuckoo. There are meditations like that you can go cuckoo. It's not the meditation, it's your level. Okay, but in Lama Tsongkhapa, you can't go cuckoo. There's no way for you to go cuckoo. There's no way for you to go crazy. There's no way for anything to go wrong. Nothing. And remember, Lama Tsongkhapa is the meditation of the kings of China. The great kings of China preserve Lama Tsongkhapa in their temples, as you can see in Beijing. So it's a very gentle practice for everyone. Male, female, high, low, advanced, preliminary, intelligent, ordinary, scholar, peasant, anyone can practice. Because everybody wants happiness and good results. And to do our sadhana every single day without a break and without being reminded, without being pushed, without being told is itself practice. Why? It's called honor. You have disciplined honor. When you promise you do it, you do it. And then what's the reason you do it? Gets you closer to honor. So when you do that meditation I just taught you, and the mantra, and then you do your Dharma studies, it complements each other. These two will help you to become much more learned and practice and become better. One without the other cannot. Don't study only meditation, cannot. Only study no meditation, cannot. Must be both. So if there's both, you have very good results.